Welcome to yet another Comma mount related video, a review video or unboxing at least. This one is regarding the quick mount for Comma 3 by Chun, or in this case it's really Chia Chun Lee. But I was just reading off the YouTube header in the background and we're gonna just check this out real quick. I've got some notes. You can see that I was initially given a heads up about this from the US distributor, US and Canada really. So that's going to be Big L 66. Got my heads up on August 3rd last year. That was a little bit before Chia Chun Lee posted some information about this quick mount design. It's made out of a SLS nylon, and he personally just sells out of Taiwan and China. So let's look at what else I have here. I've got some pictures. Let's just quickly look at them. Okay, and this is just focusing on some pictures that I grabbed from Discord just to show you what makes this one a little bit different. It's got this blade connector type setup. So that's interesting. And here you can actually see a nice clear picture of what that looks like in the mount. And then on the windshield, that's pretty cool. Let's actually check out a couple of these videos real quick. Okay, and there was one more over here. So, looks pretty high quality. Let's finally check out the video on YouTube. Let's just quickly compare that against some other previous reviews that I've done. On the far left, we have the Cloud J. I just happen to have the extra windshield piece here, but this is what mounts on the actual Comma 3 or Comma 3X. So Cloud J we've got here, that was, it's basically discontinued now. Same with this, which is the Jan K mount, which is also, it's got magnets, but it's really for the alignment. It relies on this sliding mechanism, so that's pretty robust. And finally, we have, this was my last review that I did, the BearTech mount. So it used pogo pins, similar to how the Cloud J used pogo pins, but all slightly different approaches. Let's see how the latest blade mount, quick mount, compares to all of this with an unboxing. Okay, we've got the box here. It's pretty light. Let's find out how light it is. Okay, 6 ounces exactly. Let's get this puppy unboxed. Okay. So we've got some cables here. Looks like one cable is a USB-C to C with 2 right angles. That's always appreciated. And a shorter one, looks like this one will actually connect to the Comma device, where this deep one, that deep angle will go into the actual device, and this, I assume, would go into the actual mount, which should be here. So let's check what's in this. Very well protected. Okay, it looks like it's got what I've seen Tiny Bear did. He had a sort of a protective thing. This is pretty cool though. Wow, custom 3D printed case, I guess. Nice. So A for presentation there. Okay, so we've got, actually it looks like two spare VHBs, and then the third is actually on the mount. Okay, very cool. Okay. And so this has already got the male and female connected to each other. Let's see how easily this pulls out. Okay, not very difficult. It's got definitely this familiar SLS nylon material, which I've seen on some of the different knockoff kind of Comma devices made in China, but not saying that's bad. It's actually pretty robust. It's got this texture to it, which in this case will help give some friction to keeping it from coming out. But okay, so now I can actually feel where the magnets come into play. Okay, so you can't just throw it on. You gotta help it a little bit, align it, so the magnets will keep it from getting from out of there. And then I see it's got some little alignment pins, you could call it that. It doesn't take too much effort to separate it, but it's definitely, actually it feels stronger than the Tiny Bear setup as far as the feel of the magnets go. It's got probably like the same amount of magnetic force as the Tiny Bear or the BearTech mount, but just the way that it's working here, this is going to be more secure, just the way that it locks in. Some people have wanted to find out more about how thick things are, so let's just see how thick this is. Okay, 15.21 millimeters. And we can check this out, about almost 60 millimeters long. And then we'll just check this out, just a hair over 30 millimeters for that. So another thing that I like to look for is if this has any kind of asymmetry with the, some people call this part the jaws that go around the Comma device. So does it choke up the device so that it reduces the interference with the wide cam? And actually it does, from what I can tell. It seems like yeah, it makes it so that there's a little bit more distance there than there is here. So it does allow you to get as little interference with that wide camera as possible. So that is very good. So I would call this Comma 3 and Comma 3X compatible. It looks like it has some probably some hex screws or something in there that I can tighten. It's actually very tight even without tightening those, but we can check real quick what it possibly is. Let's take a couple bits out. Yeah, it seems like it was this first one here. So that's a 2 millimeter. So it looks like if you do want it to be really firm, just make sure you push it real good. You can see that it's parallel, and just tighten it just a little bit. Okay. So that feels really solid. It actually has a pretty nice look to it too. And then of course, with this kit, you know, I showed it's got the short cable here. Pretty obvious that you'd have that end go there and that end go there. So let's just do that real quick. Snap, and then snaps in there. So that's pretty good. Looking from this direction, you might want to take some time to sort of push the cable down so it has a little bit of a bend of sort like that. That will minimize the interference with this narrow camera here. So that's what it looks like from the side. Looks pretty sharp. And then this, of course, will go on the windshield and snaps on. It takes a little bit of force to get like the extra last millimeter or so on. So like that. So if you want to make sure your device calibrates with OpenPilot consistently, you'll just want to make sure you push it in all the way. So yeah, just once again, the last millimeter, just have to make sure you push it all the way. Looks pretty good. I'm excited to get this mounted in the car. I've actually done a little preparation. I do have a video out there that shows me using this wooden ruler, but I actually took this ruler and did some measurements. I was basically going off of this little matrix pattern on both sides, and then I measured down. I did remove my previous mount, which was the Tiny Bear, or the Bear Tech Industries mounted. I'll show you more of that later, but that was over here, and so I made space so that I could mount a new one, and I made multiple lines. I measured from here as well as here down about 8 inches, and then marked these lines, and then made some comparisons and drew a final line, which I'm going to actually make that line be the top of where the mount goes, and I'll explain why when I get into the car. Here's the BearTech one that I removed. I actually used a different innovative way of removing it. I put some paper towel in here to basically grab this, and I just cranked on it, and it cranked it right off perfectly clean. It left the VHB on there, and with the particular VHB they chose for the BearTech one, it was actually pretty easy to peel off, and then I cleaned it with some isopropyl alcohol, and now we have a clean surface there. The reason why I need to make so much space is because of the way this mechanism works, where you really don't have a lot of room to mess around with as far as like how close you can put it to another one. You need it to have at least like 1.5 inches or 2 of clearance. Yeah, so right here is about where you're able to slide it in. So that's about 1.5 inches. So I figured I'd be safe if I mounted this over here. All I need to do is peel off this little red portion here. As far as centering goes, I'm going to just do that by eye here, basically a line where I have this, so it'll be I think about there is good. So I encourage people to sort of roll it on. The thickness of the VHB actually allows you to do that. So I'm push it on there for a little bit, maybe 10 seconds or so, and you're able to sort of move it a little bit, like kind of maneuver if you're off. But I think I've got it pretty much where I wanted it to be. Looks pretty solid. I don't know, you got to be careful how you grab it. So maybe like that. Yeah, okay. You can wiggle it just a hair. Just a little bit of wiggle. But it's pretty solid. So I think the disadvantage here is that you have the clearance issue where you need to make sure, like a normal person is going to mount it up higher by the camera cover here. But in my case, I've got these other mounts, so that it really just makes it so that you have to mount it a lot lower. And then the other thing is it's kind of dicey as far as one-handed mounting goes. So yeah, that feels kind of weird. You just have to have the right grip. So grip it like this maybe. Yeah. So I can tell it's pretty solid. Now, if you get into an accident, it could definitely come flying outwards. I could see that happening. Flying out like that, but you're not going to get that with the J&K mount. The Cloud J mount above the J&K mount is stronger, much stronger than the Beartech mount that I had here. I can tell you that was a huge difference between Cloud J and Beartech, was the strength of the magnets. This one actually started, the Beartech started having issues as far as detecting the ignition a few times. So that's why I was kind of eager to remove this one. I had some of the same issue with the Cloud J as well, and I don't think I had that issue at all with the J&K. So I'm curious to see how well this works. Let's just start up the card. We'll know in a few seconds if it detects ignition. I do have the car on, and hopefully everything works out okay. Yep, detected ignition, so looks pretty good. I'll be driving around with this for at least a week or so and see if there's anything negative to report, but I think this one's going to work out fine. Thanks for watching, guys.